contracted road?
Because they are saying contractors are
you see you people in the budget.
we withdraw that statement. It's not true.
You don't have your own word.
What's happened? Paul, the week has ended. What has happened?
Honourable members, Mr. Speaker.
Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under this deliberation, in so just and faithfully a manner as to promote your own glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge.
Item number 2 in the order paper, communication from the chair.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. I welcome you to today's sitting. Next item.
Item 3 on the order paper.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a point of procedure touching your guidance and the ruling yesterday, Right Honorable Speaker. In a way, Right Honorable Speaker, as we are guiding Parliament, you mentioned something to do with the fact that the role of this Parliament is to talk. Right Honorable Speaker, outside there, the people who are following this Parliament directly, because it is relayed live, and the others who got to know about this through the media, interpreted it as to mean that this House is a bunch of casual talkers akin to something like a TikTok. Maybe this one is parliamentary talk, that there is nothing serious that can come out of this House. Right Honorable Speaker, today I received one of my constituents, and it is very rare that people come to us to address us about matters happening here. They usually come for personal issues. But this one came and said that if indeed you just converge there to talk, and your talk is of no consequence, then why don't you disband the Parliament and come back home? So the point of procedure I want to raise, Right Honorable Speaker, is that I believe and I trust that this was not the full import of your guidance. Wouldn't it be procedural okay, Right Honorable Speaker, for you to clarify so that the public gets to know that this is not just a platform for a talk show, as people have interpreted your guidance? Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very, very good point, Honorable. I think whenever clarification is needed, it needs to be done. Number one, here indeed we talk, because we can only do our work through talking. That one must be put on record. But number two, and which I was cautioning colleagues to know, where our powers, where we have powers of resolutions and conclusive decisions, it is expressly stated for in the rules and also in the laws. For example, our power to approve the budget, our power to approve government appointees, our power to make laws, our power. But where you want me to also now pronounce the House on powers to go and implement court judgments where the House wasn't party, on powers to ensure people are released from prison, and then I also put it to you and I ask, honorable colleague, advise me, what do we do? Because this House, we put our heads together. It's not just throwing it at the Speaker and say, Speaker, the House can't go on. No, if it can't go on, what do we do? I close it, we go, but we have other duties. Okay? We have other duties. So, what I was cautioning about is that, honorable colleagues, don't stretch the House beyond where it is supposed to stop. Let us not think what I used here, that what the House can't do is to turn a man into a woman. No. We have our limits, and whenever we've gone beyond our limits, the courts have come and said, you have gone beyond your limits. So I'm only urging you, honorable colleagues, that here is your platform to raise the issues. But when you want me to close the House, for example, to say, I will not call Parliament until this happens, I think I would be going beyond, because I have other work to do, and we are paid by Ugandans to come and do that work. That would be now going into demonstration, which I believe, and when it comes to fighting for the rights of our colleagues here, because, I mean, we try our level best. Like on the issue of BSJ, you requested, I sent the committee to Ruzira. The committee went, visited, and we settled that matter. Okay? But now, on the issue of a court judgment, where the aggrieved parties have other ways of addressing their concerns, but you want it sorted here, it becomes difficult for me as a presiding officer. So beyond talking, what could I do on that issue? There's nothing I can do. But there are issues where I don't stop at talking. Honorable colleagues, I don't want to go beyond that. Let's go to the next item.
Item 3 on the order paper, statement by Minister on the ongoing voter verification exercise update.
Honorable Minister for Justice.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I make this statement in response to your directive.
Honorable Minister, did you give us copies of your statement? Because I want to know if it's uploaded. To make it easier for
my office is supposed to have emailed it.
Let's just make it very easy. Honorable Minister, since it's signed, okay, let us be handling the next item as they upload it for easy follow-up of members. It will be better that way. So give a copy to the clerk. They quickly upload. We need that copy for uploading. Yes, Honorable Samji.
Item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, you guided that the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, who is also the DP President, but also a minister in the NRM government, the Honorable Norbert Mao, that he will guide us on the issue of the Supreme Court judgment. And you said that he will be here. I am happy he's here. Mr. Speaker, I didn't see this matter on the order paper. I am only asking you to guide us on whether you will be calling him to explain what you promised yesterday to the House.
Yes, I talked to the minister. I guided him that he would just give us an update as he concluded this statement. But Honourable Minister, if you can give us an update, because his was not for guiding the House, but an update on implementation of the court orders. Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll not respond to the preamble of the Honorable Semuju because it is irrelevant. What the Supreme Court did is what linesmen do in a game of soccer. They simply raised the flag and said, you have crossed the line. Yes. The courts do not make the laws. It is not the courts that made the Constitution. Neither is it the courts that enacted the UPDF Act. So, if the court says the UPDF Act collides with the Constitution, that means we have homework to do. And the government is committed to doing that homework, to do will alignment. They have simply said the wheels are facing in different directions. So, that is in general terms. So, the media drama about the courts and so on, this is not the first time the court has thrown out laws. The Police Act, many provisions were thrown out. So,
Please, honorable colleagues, the minister is holding the floor. Honorable Minister, you're holding the floor. I'll give you chances to respond.
Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, you said earlier that we come here to talk, and I'm doing exactly that. Is there anything offensive that I've said? I've simply said that the government has a duty to respect the decision of the court. It's as simple as that. If the linesman raises the flag, it's the duty of the referee to blow the whistle, to acknowledge. These days you even have VAR. So all the drama is actually unnecessary. We stand by the Constitution, which says whenever there's a dispute about the interpretation of any law, the courts have the final word. That is obvious. Now, concerning implementation, I'm a lawyer, and all of you lawyers know that courts don't go to implement their own decisions. I do not know whether an order was extracted by the lawyers in these cases to take the next step. Because when those orders are then served on the people, whether on the government and so on, then you move the agencies. Even if the court has made the order, there are procedures that have got to be taken. The reason the government takes anybody to court is because the prosecution believes that they have enough evidence. Therefore, it will be up to them to now do the measures to transfer the cases to the civilian courts. And those are in the hands of the appropriate authorities, namely the DPP, and it is not in the hands of the prison authorities. The prison authorities are only holding the suspects. So, leave this to those who have been directed. I can only confirm that those who are supposed to do that work are doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Sewungu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My former president of the Democratic Party, and now in the NRM side, there is a saying in Uganda, and is a very good orator in Uganda, Honorable Mao, that some people, you go into a boat, and you use that boat to sail through, to go through the water. But after getting out of the water, you say, this is a boat, a charter. So we have been struggling with the Honorable Mao under this regime on bad governance. Coming before this parliament, and you talk about what is happening after the Supreme Court judgment, that's media drama. That is unprecedented. And that's an attack even on the media, where you are always entertained in BS and everywhere. The issues we are raising here, it's not about media drama. They are legal issues. You helped me become a lawyer because I was with you. That's why you got interested to study law. Here you are, people are in prison. Under which legal regime are they there after the Supreme Court judgment? Here, and then you are telling this House that we are having a media drama as you are facing me. Someone who was arrested one time from DP headquarters at the City House. We came and fought. You were kept in the Nakasongola for 3 weeks. Now you are out of the boat. You are calling it a chato. Literally. Are you fair to this House? Inform this House. Under which legal regime is Kano VSJ, the NOP, and all those people who are in prison, and the Karachunas, after the Supreme Court judgment. What is your role on these judges as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs? We don't want to bring facts.
Thank you.
So kindly, hit the pass. Hit the pass. Because today is me, today is you.
Now, honorable colleagues, you see, I've been very cautious, and that's why I was saying you're pushing us into uncharted waters, into a territory that is not ours. And my issue is, now, if the minister comes and he says, I don't even know whether they've already extracted the decree and has been served on us for implementation, and he says, it's not my duty, the victor, listen to me, the victor in the case should be the one to move and extract a decree. So now, which resolution do you want the House to make on this? We order the minister to go and extract a decree. Minister, you're ordered. Colleagues. Honorable Semuju. Just Honorable Semuju, then Honorable Nakut.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you very much. I think the Honorable Mao made it very clear that he was just talking. And I don't want to fault him. I was in Luzira in 2011 in B2. I slept on the mattress that the Honorable Mao left there. And actually, my first meal is what he left before he was taken to Nakasongola. So the Honorable Mao is a victim. What the Speaker did yesterday was to shift the responsibility to a person who has washed his hands clean, that I am not responsible. That's why, Mr. Speaker, because I had to go by your guidance, the Attorney General who went to court was here. I don't know, but by your guidance took us to the wrong address. That's why even the Honorable Mao is asking, have they done this? Have they done this? My only disappointment is not what he has said. The disappointment is that we have suffered with him. You can imagine I slept on your mattress, the one you left there. And I don't think you celebrate those days when Mr. Museveni took you to prison. That's why you must lead us in liberating and rescuing people who are suffering the same way you are suffering. That's the only disappointment I have. That you can seek to rationalize the disobeying of a Supreme Court judgment by government agencies. At least your presence there should be like last time when I saw you also regretting why you joined and you are threatening to leave. So if they are not following the Constitution, I have known you, Honorable Norbert Mao, for a long time, since you are an MP here. You've been pushing for constitutionalism. I want to hear that Mao who speaks about constitutionalism and rule of law, not one who rationalizing people who are disobeying Supreme Court order. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, yesterday I followed the news. And today I was checking on Twitter. I saw the Honorable Winnie Janyima saying they had filed an order for habeas corpus. The lawyers are moving, trying to ensure that the decision of the Supreme Court is implemented. Why don't we leave it to them? Yes, Rob. Why don't we leave it to them? They do their work. I had allowed Honorable Nakut. Let me first speak Honorable Nakut. I had allowed. Then Honorable Kanushi, and then Rob.
Mr. Speaker, I have stood here to thank you for standing in with the people who are in jail under these circumstances. It is not only Dr. Kizza Besigye. They are in thousands of Ugandans. But Mr. Speaker, I know that you have given adequate time. The other day, you gave 1 first hour. Yesterday, you gave 1 hour. Today, we are clogging another 1 hour. The Attorney General came here to say his words. The Deputy Attorney General also came. The Minister is here. He has said the same words. Mr. Speaker, I know that you mean well for our people. Mr. Speaker, if you, in your wisdom, Mr. Speaker, you feel that this requires a debate of a full day, put it in the order paper, and we debate it for a full day. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues came with a matter of urgent importance of Ugandans who are stuck in DRC. That matter cannot be raised here because of the court decision which we want to exhaust. Can we give a day for this and we exhaust? And we also handle other issues of the country. There are Ugandans who have lost business in DRC. We cannot discuss that. Mr. Speaker, I want you to guide this House.
Thank you. Honorable Lola.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when the Attorney General came here to give us an update, he did say almost the same things that the Minister of Justice has just said. I have been wondering since then how we continue to discuss a court ruling, apart from asking the Attorney General to make sure that the ruling is implemented. What value can we add as Parliament by continuously discussing a court ruling which should be implemented? The Attorney General explained the phases and the steps that are going to be taken to implement the ruling. Mr. Speaker, by discussing this, where are we going? Why are we discussing this? For what? What can we do as Parliament? Is that within our jurisdiction to discuss a court ruling where we are not going to do anything, or we are just talking because we want to show people that we are talking on the microphone? Mr. Speaker, we come to this House to discuss issues that affect our people. People are not given chance to speak. You raise 7 procedural issues talking about an issue which has no resolution. As Parliament, we cannot make a resolution on a court judgment. Even a layman understands that. Mr. Speaker, I pray that you guide this House because we cannot do anything about a court ruling. I thank you.
Thank you. Lope. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to firstly agree with my land friend, the Honorable Laura Kanusu, that when we convene here, we convene to discuss pertinent issues, matters of concern about people out there. That's actually true. And this matter is about people. This matter about Dr. Kizza Besigye, about NUP supporters, about Karamajongs, who are represented by the Honorable Nakut Faith, who have been held for donkey's years by the General Court Martial. I think that those people matter. I thought that the people that Honorable Nakut represents matter. And that's why we are discussing this. Honorable Speaker, I have a question for the Attorney General. For the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs has given an update to this House. He has said, firstly, he was party to this matter because the Attorney General appealed this matter in the Supreme Court. The Attorney General legally is supervised by the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. So in effect, the Honorable Norbert Mao was in court through the Attorney General whom he supervises. He's given an update here, but which update I think is partial. It's incomplete. He has told us something that excited me a little bit until I didn't hear the end. He said that all entities, all the authorities who are meant to act on the Supreme Court order are doing what they are supposed to do. that excited me. Challenge is that he left it hanging. Who is doing what, Right Honorable Speaker? I think that update is important for us to know what exactly is happening. Because the paradox is this. While the Honorable Norbert Mao is telling us here that government is doing all that it's meant to do to implement this court order, the head of the executive, under which Honorable Norbert Mao works, has said that the Supreme Court made a mistake and is lambasting them. I have been watching a bit of what's happening in Chotera. The Chief of Defense Forces has said, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the one who is promising to behead people and to hang them and so on, he has said that what the Supreme Court ordered is problematic and they are going to discuss it in the High Command to determine what to do. Now that's the paradox. I don't know what Honorable Mao is talking about in saying all the government entities meant to act are acting, because the head of the executive is saying no. The Chief of Defense Forces, who supervises court martials and so on, is saying no. So maybe if he could complete that update, saying everyone in government, every entity who is meant to do what they are meant to do is doing it.
Thank
Who
you.
is doing what, Honorable Minister?
Thank you, Rob. Honorable Minister.
Thank you,
Minister.
Mr. Speaker. I think this debate is a healthy debate. When courts make decisions, there are those who are happy and there are those who are unhappy. There are those who disagree with the court decision. My main point as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is to insist that is the duty of everybody to respect and abide by the court decision. That does not stop you from disagreeing. You can even, if you don't like driving on the left, you can keep driving on the left while holding a sign saying it is stupid to drive on the left. You will not be arrested, provided you are driving on the left. So, that means you are disagreeing. You are disagreeing with the law, but you are not disobeying it. As Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, I can tell you, it is not illegal to disagree with the law. It is illegal to disobey the law. Our laws put the Supreme Court at the apex of our judicial system. And I said that point. But of course, that was not enough, Mr. Speaker, for the Honorable Semunju, because he must associate Mao with what he calls the junta, because that gives him great pleasure. That I'm now a monster, I'm an oppressor, and that's how he will earn his next term in Parliament. So I'm glad. I'm glad you are cooperating with him to make sure his people see him on TV battling this monster which has now swallowed Mao. And that is part of the drama here. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, as far as the President's statement is concerned, it was extremely balanced. The President acts advisedly. The President said there are aspects that he liked. He said that he believes that it gives an opportunity for some reforms. There are those who believe that civilians should be tried in military courts, and they are Ugandans. The court has said no. The court has also said that the UPDF Act collides with the Constitution. Now, those who are talking about the CDF, who has been speaking in Chotera, the CDF knows the mandate of the UPDF. I am sure the most important organ of UPDF is not the court martial. We have battles on our borders. That's the real mandate of UPDF. We cannot reduce the UPDF to be a court. In terms of even percentage, the people who are even tried in the court martial have become prominent because of the case of Dr. Besigye. Now, Mr. Speaker, it is erroneous for anybody to think that what the Supreme Court said was a release order. The court does not say, I have freed, because the case hasn't been heard. They are only saying, bring it before the proper court, so that we hear the case. So we should not misguide the population, Mr. Speaker, by exciting them that now it is a release order.
Minister,
I would like the lawyers for Dr. Besigye to do their job. None of us is in office to fight the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court does something and says that these laws are colliding, we do what I've called will alignment.
Minister,
I have nothing more to add to that.
Thank you.
I just want to call upon colleagues, put aside your political lens when you are discussing this. If the evidence is there, it will be presented before the civilian court. That will also be a trial. But now you are misleading the public to say the court has said, now these people are free.
Thank you.
But the Supreme Court did not hear the case. So how can they determine it?
Thank you. Now,
it is a shame that honorable members can misguide the nation like that.
Thank you. Now, for clarification, Honorable Minister, for clarification, I don't cooperate with any member to finish you here. Because when I'm giving a member an opportunity to speak, I don't know what they are going to speak. They are members, and so I think it is unfair to say I have cooperated with Semuju to swallow you. That's unfair, Honor.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Semuju has more than his fair share of airtime here. And that's why I said you are cooperating with him.
Okay. There is no one on the floor. That's a problem I have. Honorable Minister, I just want to put it straight. Whether I give a member a lot of time, I don't know what a member is going to say. Honorable Mao has not been coming here very often, okay? Has not been coming here very often. If it was Badyomunsi, Honorable Badyomunsi, but that's what I wanted to put on record, that I can never cooperate with a member here to finish another member. No, that's not how I work. But he's the one who raised the issue. That's why I allowed him. Number two, honorable colleagues, Parliament here, whatever we submit on should be concluded into resolutions. That's what is implemented. On such a matter, we are not going to make any resolution. We cannot make any resolution on this matter. So this is the matter. I've closed it. I leave it to the parties to the case to handle. Honorable Minister, please read your statement. Procedure, Honorable Dur.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to beg your indulgence. When we come to this house, we raise issues and expect responses from the front bench. I want to update the minister who was not available, the background why he was asked to come here. The prisoners who are on remand, and it's not only Dr. Besigye, many of them remanded by the court-martial. The procedure of remand is that you are remanded for a specific period of time. When that remand warrant is sent to prisons, it's saying you are remanded until 28th or 29th of this month. So when that remand period comes, you are expected to come back before the court for the court to try you or to issue a new remand warrant. So the background that we wanted the minister to clarify here is that the Attorney General had informed us that the court-martial had ceased to operate in respect of the matters that were declared by court. And the question we were asking, under what arrangement now are the prisoners being held? So that, because this is not only about the Dr. Besigye and Obed, there are many others. So the minister was supposed to come and inform us of the new arrangement, because any person held in prison with illegally offends the constitution. So
the member is on procedure. That's a problem. I can't put procedure on procedure. Honorable, please. Honorable colleagues, please. Okay? I know what I'm doing. You might think I'm very lenient, I'm being very lenient, but I know what I'm doing. Please allow me to do my work here.
I'm concluding, Mr. Speaker. So the question that remains for the executive to answer is, we have this number of prisoners whose remand period had expired, and they are now being held in prison unlawfully. Under what arrangement? The answers would expect maybe there was an arrangement made and they were charged and we are not aware. They should explain to us, because the Constitution does not allow for anyone to be held in prison unlawfully. And we submit that those who are in prisons now without a valid warrant are being held there unlawfully. This is what the minister should clarify to us.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, and this is what I told you. That's why I said, if really we want these people released and an action taken, the law provides for all this, the aggrieved parties. Because here, the minister can only come and make whatever he makes, and maybe we even say, minister, they are here illegally. But this is not, it does not release them. So the parties to the case are already moving. Let's give them a chance. Let them do their part. Okay? Let them do their part. Honorable colleagues, this matter is closed. This matter is closed. Honorable Minister, present your statement on the EC updates. Under what rule, Honorable Zake? Procedure? No, Honorable Rule 78 of our Rules of Procedure requires, if you stand up on procedure, you state the rule. That's your own rules. Honorable Minister, please present your statement.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I make this statement in response to your directive that I brief Parliament on the voter verification exercise going on in the country. This exercise is an important milestone giving effect to Article 1(4) of the Constitution, which provides that, I quote, "The people shall express their will and consent on who shall govern them and how they should be governed through regular, free and fair elections of their representatives or through referenda. Free and fair elections is therefore the bedrock on which our government is established. When we undermine that bedrock, we weaken the glue that keeps us together as a nation." Let me provide a brief context, Mr. Speaker. It's not lost on me that today is 6th of February, in common parlance known as Tarehe Sita. 44 years ago today, President Yoweri Museveni, who was then leader of the Uganda Patriotic Movement, launched a guerrilla war against the Uganda government, eventually overthrowing it in 1986. The declared reason for the guerrilla war was the failure to resolve peacefully the disputes about the 1980 elections. No wonder the preamble to our Constitution exhorts us to recall, and I quote, "our history, which has been characterized by political and constitutional instability." The government welcomes the report of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. I've had a conversation with the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and he assured me that the Electoral Commission will implement to the fullest extent possible the recommendations of the report. I'm pleased to inform Parliament that the people of Uganda are very enthusiastic about the next elections, of which the ongoing update of the National Voters Register is a key component. As I speak now, Mr. Speaker, the chairman, members, and staff of the Electoral Commission are in the field assessing the exercise. They have witnessed long queues of people seeking to verify their voter status. The people are ready. The government needs to be ready. Nevertheless, it's my duty to respond to the issues of concern that the people have raised, many of which are in the committee report. When the chairman and the members of the Electoral Commission conclude their field visit tomorrow, They will address the nation and announce important decisions that will deal with the issues of concern in the ongoing exercise. The chairman of the Electoral Commission assured me that they are leading the process with the technical support of officials from NIRA. I would therefore like to assure the House that the Electoral Commission is doing the best with what they have. The Electoral Commission could not wait for the new NIRA registration kits. They are using the old kits, which are numbering only 2,703. These kits have been assigned to sub-counties, and they move to parishes and wards on a rotational basis. I am informed that due to delays in release of funds and procurement, the new kits, numbering about 5,000, have arrived at NIRA, but they are still being formatted. These new kits will not be used for the current voter update exercise, but will instead be used for the mass enrollment of citizens. Mr. Speaker, in my conversation with the Electoral Commission chairman, I raised the question of the possibility of extending the deadline for the update. The chairman told me that should the 10th February arrive when the exercise has not been completed, the Electoral Commission will announce measures for redress. For now, 10th February remains the deadline. What is being done in the current exercise, Mr. Speaker, is simply the compilation of raw data showing who is eligible to vote and where they should vote. After all the data has been captured, there will be a display process of the register. The display will allow for correction of the register, for instance, deleting non-citizens and the dead. This process is superintended by parish tribunals that are established by magistrates. These tribunals will determine any complaints and then forward the final data to the returning officer. The result of all these processes is what the citizens expect to be a credible and verifiable national voters register. Finally, in response to the concern that women of the Muslim faith are required to remove their religious dress for purposes of registration, I would like to give assurance that the Electoral Commission doesn't do anything that is different from what NIRA does. The women in question have national IDs. They therefore had to go through the standard procedures of NIRA in order for their full data to be captured, including having their photographs taken. In case there are any overzealous officials whose conduct insults the modesty of Muslim women, we undertake to investigate fully those instances and deal with such errant officers according to the law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. So this is the matter which was raised by LOP, and we asked for an update, especially taking into consideration the independence of the Electoral Commission. And you could see even the minister was very cautious in his statements, show that he wasn't directing or influencing the Electoral Commission when it's carrying out its mandate. So I will allow Rob who raised the matter. You make a comment. We allow a few comments, and then we move to another item.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And to appreciate the Minister of Justice for getting back to us. That's good manners. That when we raise issues, there is feedback. He has hinted on a couple of things, but I thought there would be an update again on some. For example, the extension of the deadline. He has insinuated the Electoral Commission might. There's a bit of hope. Okay, let's wait and see how that goes, because there are numerous challenges in the field. But I thought we would also get an update on the question of DSOs, HISOs, FISOs, and so on, who are involved in this process, because legally they have no place at all. And as we hear, some of them are demanding for money from people. If you want me to recommend you 10,000, 20,000 shillings and so on, I thought the minister's statement would comment on that issue. And also, the demarcation question. It's raised many eyebrows. The Electoral Commission has merged some electoral areas in a couple of places. I don't know what formula they are using, because, you know, there are areas in the urban centers where an LC1 chairperson superintends over more people than some colleagues in this House as members of Parliament. That's a fact in terms of numbers. So now, we on this side have always been for a lean government, that we lessen the numbers of government officials at all levels, whether it be cabinet ministers, whether it be as Parliament, whether coming down all the way councillors, but that it gets to be done in a formula that is properly understandable and acceptable. The formula of numbers, even legally, is acceptable. So we want to understand how the Electoral Commission did that some councillors within the urban centres, where there were 3 councillors, now there's going to be 1 councillor. Is it because the population has lessened there? Obviously not, even according to the U-Board statistic. So what formula is being followed? Because we don't see the same formula apply across the country. Thank you.
Honorable Timothy, Honorable Ababiku.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for the statement. Right Honorable
Semuju, under what rule?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am raising this procedure under Rule 77. Mr. Speaker, a while ago, the Honorable Odul asked the DP President, whose victory was stolen in 1980, and when those who went to Ruwero returned, they did not restore that victory, but they became the government themselves. The procedural issue, Mr. Speaker, is that Honorable Odul did ask a specific question. Under which legal regime is Dr. Besigye and others are in prison when their warrant expired? Mr. Speaker, you answered the question. I thought you'll allow, because our rules protect the Speaker, they don't allow you to answer on behalf of government. I thought you'll allow the Honorable Mao to answer under what regime is Dr. Besigye in prison. Instead, Mr. Speaker, it looks like you were now the one answering on his behalf.
Thank you. Now, this was a very straightforward matter. If you listen to Honorable Odul, he stood up on point of procedure. The point of procedure, he doesn't ask a member, he asks a speaker. So the question was to me, and I had to give my guidance. If he wanted to ask the minister any other question, he would have stood up under rule of clarification or information, and he asks. But as long as you stand up on procedure, you will only expect an answer from the speaker. Where I feel another colleague needs to be consulted, then I can pass it on and I say consult. But what was very important, Honorable Semuju, was that these are issues, in fact, which court should answer. These are issues which should be handled at court level. Honorable Timothy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like again to thank the Honorable Minister for the statement provided. Right Honorable Speaker, it was clearly stated last time that the work of verifying citizenship is clearly demarcated to NIRA. But what we are receiving, and the complaints from some of our voters, is that the same people right now, the electoral officials, are also taking the opportunity to deny people registration, even if they do have national IDs. So, and yet that is not their issue to start verifying who has the right to have a national ID or not. Whoever comes with a national ID should be registered for voting. So we would like to get that clarification from the Honorable Minister. Why is the electoral officers actually taking this upon themselves? And also what steps they have actually taken. We do realize that the constituencies especially, or the districts near the borders of our country have community on both areas, and sometimes both have to vote on both areas. What legislation methods have they taken to actually try and cope that situation? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Babiku.
Thank
Then
you.
Honorable Pachuta.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity. I thank the Minister for the response. I am seeking clarification from the Minister about the registration or the update that is taking place in Adjournment district, specifically at Apa, where Apa is in Adjournment, but the Madis have been stopped from going to attend to the exercise or be registered. And when we made inquiries on 31st of last month, we were told that government has made that place as a special area. Can we get to know how a special area is gazetted in Adjournment district without our knowledge, and even we are not allowed to access the service? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Adara, don't know Pachuto. Then Chair Arigo.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the update. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister particularly for bringing out the fact that Electoral Commission is committed to extend the registration days should they have not completed registering us all by 10th of February. Right Honourable Speaker, it is always very interesting in this country that when people are registered, when the time for voting comes, there is very low voter turn-up. Right Honourable Speaker, why am I bringing this out? I would pray with this House that should 10th of February come and a good number of our citizens are not registered, that they should be given room to be registered, so that, Right Honourable Speaker, it would be now be time for...
I cautioned you last time, okay? Rules, Article 62 of the Constitution does not allow you to go into that area. Leave it to the Electoral Commission to assess. They have their independence, please.
Yes, Right Honourable
The
Speaker.
rules don't allow, okay? Just
Right
leave
Honourable
them.
Speaker.
You already
But
seen
the
a
point-
green light somewhere. Take
the point I'm
advantage
trying
of that.
to build is that in other countries, when people who are registered do not turn up to vote, they are reprimanded. And because these people have, it is a responsibility for every citizen to vote. And that's how the voted people, the leaders, can be more accountable to them.
Like which country?
It is time, like in the UK, Right Honourable Speaker, it is time, Australia, it is time that this country could pick such good examples so that we enforce the fact that people should turn up to vote so that all leaders can be accountable to them, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Baka, then Honourable Nsereko.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raise to thank the Minister for the statement, but also to thank the Electoral Commission for acknowledging through the Minister our report. And they have also noted that they will be implementing the recommendations. They will try as much as possible to implement the recommendations. I thank the Electoral Commission for that. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, during our meeting with the Electoral Commission, they committed to us that they will be periodically informing the country on what's happening. I'm happy that statement has come. But also the chairman and the secretary have been constantly in touch with me to assure me that the exercise is moving very well. And from my research on ground, it is true the ball is moving very well. People are so many on the lines to ensure that they register. My prayer, Mr. Speaker, is that the Electoral Commission commits itself further on the promise they have given us to ensure that if by 10th there are some gaps, they are willing, and they committed in the committee, they are willing to make an extension. I pray that they commit themselves to that to ensure that we all benefit from the exercise. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Chair, you have been told the commissioners are in the field. After coming from the field, making an assessment, they will update the country. Yeah, let's allow them to do their work. Honourable Nsereko.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker,
just 3 matters of concern to the Minister. After the matter of the Right Honourable former candidate, Amama Mbabazi, was presented in court, court made the following observations. 1, that the deployment and the use of technology should be followed up, whereas is desirable, should be followed up by necessary regulation. I would like to ask the Minister how far with that matter. Secondly, the Minister, who I have a lot of respect for, clearly stated to this House that he would present comprehensive constitutional reforms for this House to discuss, and much of which would inform partly the issue touching electoral reforms in this case. And the country needs to know how far you've reached touching this matter. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of our foreign nationals. Ugandans living in the diaspora have the desire to take part in the elections through voting, just like other countries, in different embassies and high commissions. We are doing voter update, and that is something we need to interest ourselves into, because they contribute to the development of this country, but they also remain our nationals that should take part in the elections. I would like to pose a question to the Honourable Minister in charge of Justice as to how far in implementing that matter to follow suit, just like the global trend is that nationals within the boundaries and those that are outside should take part in elections. Finally, we are going through a voter update exercise, and we have children that have gone back to school. I don't know who is picking up on, who is really concentrating on their records, so that we update the National Register with their involvement. So that would bring in the question of the Honourable Matthias Mpuga, that he has talked about the comprehensive reforms that we need to address so that we have an election that is acceptable to all as a tool of democracy. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Kaye Bob and Honourable Namboze. Then Honourable Odu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, my concern was mostly about the students, because in my sub-county, up to now, they have only under one parish out of 6. And students are not happy because most of them have gone back to school. And most of them are studying rural schools. They are wondering whether these people can reach them when they can fail to reach them from home. So I wanted the Minister to clarify on this. Thank you.
Honourable Namboze, then Honourable Odu.
Thanks, Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister started with congratulating the UPDF and even cited the function going on at Chotela. But as a Minister for Constitutional Affairs, I want to know if really UPDF is 44 years as the celebration now going on tend to depict. Because, Mr. Speaker, I think it would be in the interest of the Minister of Constitutional Affairs to make sure that this country really adopts constitutionalism as a value. So it is bad to encourage people who are violating our constitution. When you are the minister yourself, who should even give them guidance and advice. So, Mr. Speaker, that it was in his statement. That is why I have talked about it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as soon as the minister admits that the kits are being presented to voters rotationally, I think that is also an admission that we shall not have the same days as we had programmed to have for this voters update of registers. But when you announce for deadline and you arrogantly declare that you are not bound to change, you create panic among our people. They go to these centers, they don't find the kids, and they eventually come to us asking on what to do, and they think that they will not be able to register, because when they go for registration at their palaces, the kids are not there because they are being presented to them in a rotational manner. I think the best thing for the commission to do as a way of request is that they should not continue ransoming people that we shall have this deadline, we are not extending. Yesterday, over the news, the spokesperson of the EC was declaring that they will not extend and they will not extend. And this has caused the panic among the people who have not registered, and they are due for registration. The second thing, Mr. Speaker, I came here and raised the issue of gerrymandering. The way the electoral areas were being created without even consulting the stakeholders, Mr. Speaker. What Electoral Commission is doing is that they are using the census of 2014 for the creation of electoral areas for elections of 2026. Yet the country has just gone through a census. I want to know from the minister what he thinks about this. Why should we use old census results when we have just had a census? And the Constitution provides that every after census, the Electoral Commission shall create constituencies depending on the results of the census, and when they intend to do this as provided for under the Constitution. Lastly, Mr.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, Parliament is a very important platform. I would just request you that we use it to encourage our people to go out and register. Okay? No, to go out and register. And then, like, we've taken concern. Because you see, when we start informing people and making them hope that no, an extension is coming, then even those who wanted to give it a lot of attention, leave whatever they are doing to first go, they say, no, more of an extension is coming, so I will come next week. I think I've seen signs which are good, positive, that we are ready to respond to these issues and all that. Personally, I also took time off to talk to the commissioners. And they said, no, there's no way you can say we pronounce ourselves, for example, on extension before we review what we've gotten from the field. So let them first review. But for now, we encourage all Ugandans to go and register. Let us encourage them. And if there are gaps, then we shall go for them. Honorable Komakech. And then Honorable Baba. And Honorable Karanga.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I had picked Honorable Odur first, sorry. Yes. Then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm trying to get independence, some independence there.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't mean every one of you stands up. I'm just picking two, and I've already seen them. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I am comforted by the statement of the Minister informing us that the Electoral Commission has perused through the recommendations made by this House and has made commitments to implement in as far as they can. I want to point particularly to an area of concern that there are areas that had informed us of the difficulties in accessing both network and electricity. Those particular regions should be given special consideration when they review and evaluate the whole program. Secondly, I want to implore the Minister to come back and inform us as official as Parliament. I know the Electoral Commission may make a statement out, but it denies members of Parliament opportunity to interface. So as soon as the Electoral Commission is done, it would be prudent for the Minister to come and then inform the House. One particular issue, Mr. Speaker, that I would like to emphasize, and I will illustrate with an example. In the last parliamentary, last cycle of election, Lira City East Division, which is a constituency of 117,000 voters, was a result of a merger of 5 administrative units, 5 sub-counties, 2 divisions and 3 sub-counties to form 1 division. And the Electoral Commission provided a demarcation for local councillors to the city. And these were like 5 of them. In the current demarcation, they have collapsed all the 5 into only 1, meaning the LC local government councillor has the same number of voters and areas as the area member of parliament. Now, the implication is, as you know, Mr. Speaker, in the local government elections, for you to be eligible to be nominated, you must be a registered voter in an electoral area. So the councillors are now in panic because they come from different areas, and now they only have 1 area. This is an area I wanted the minister to take particular interest. The Electoral Commission says they are basing on Section 120 of the Local Government Act, which gives them the mandate to demarcate based on the number of voters and other parameters. But there is a big concern now, and you can imagine that a local councillor going to the city council will now have to campaign in 87 polling stations. 87 polling stations in Lira City East Division alone. If you go to Lira City West, and I believe the same is happening in Kampala, Mbarara, all the new cities. So I want to implore the minister to go back and work with the Electoral Commission and maybe inform the House how they will address that impulse of the local government councillors who are now in panic. In fact, many are now going to lose out. And the risk is that a city council is likely to have less than 2 members in plenary. Once the vice is appointed and the executive is constituted, the entire city might have only a total of 5 councillors. They cannot form government. In other words, this is an area that I wanted the minister probably to clarify or to consult with the Electoral Commission and address us in consultation with the Minister for Local Government. Thank you.
Honorable Komake.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement that he has delivered before this August House. Right Honorable Speaker, in the same spirit, I want to thank the people of Aru County for taking the bull by the horn and going to register. However, just as I am, Aru County is formed mainly by young children who have never voted, the youth, meaning they are turning up in high numbers. Mr. Minister, Honorable Norbert Mao, you are well aware of the sparsely populated numbers of people that we have in Acholi sub-region, in a way that you find a group that is almost 30 kilometers away in a parish, meaning they have to travel 30 kilometers to come and register. A case in point is Lagile Lunyeri sub-county and Awere sub-county. These youths travel from morning to go and look for 1 computer that is set up in Lunyeri, and they are able only to register 30 people. At the end of the day, they travel back again 30 kilometers. I was requesting if it would be possible that the new administrative units created in Pade district, especially Lunyeri and then Puranga sub-county, do be availed with computers and officers to register. Thank you so much.
Shadow Attorney General. Then Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister of Justice for his statement. Just one issue. In your statement, Honorable Minister, you recognize that there are many long queues at registration centers. And one of the yardsticks who had agreed with the Electoral Commission, which I thought you would bring before the House, was that they would give a status report on a daily basis of how many people have been turned away, because they register close to 30 people maximum per day. So how many have been turned away per day, for us to know how many remain unregistered on a particular day. And that should be the basis for their decision, which they are supposed to make. Is it possible for you to liaise with them and get the statistics of deregistrations countrywide, indicating how many have not been registered for failure to access the existing kits?
Thank you, Honorable Baba. Then Honorable Moroni.
I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for his concise statement. And in the statement, there was a clear admission that in the registration exercise, there was inadequacy of equipment and network challenges. And therefore, there's likely to cause a delay in completion of the exercise. And consideration is being made to whether to extend it or not. That will be determined on the 10th of February. Mr. Speaker, 10th of February is on Monday. This coming Monday, it's not very far away. And yet, a majority of people have not yet registered. So this is really a plea. It's not a direction to the Electoral Commission or to you, Honorable Minister, but a plea from us that in view of the inadequacy of equipment and in view of the fact that a number of people have not registered, this be seriously considered. It is not a question of directing the Electoral Commission or not. I think if we see something is wrong, it is up to us to point out the inadequacies. After all, they also should listen to guidance and advice from outside themselves. So my plea is that this be seriously considered. I myself went to check on my register. The equipment was not there. I went the following day. That is in Kuluba sub-county in Koboko. It was very far away somewhere in another parish where I could not reach. What about the other people? Me who had the vehicle. Huh? So the challenges are real. The challenges are real. People should not be rotating, chasing the equipment. The equipment should find them where they are supposed to be. So this is really a plea to you to take to the Electoral Commission. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Moroni.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister for his statement. The case for Bulambuli, where we experienced landslides last November, we are in the process now of relocating our people and resettling them elsewhere in a safer place. The people who are affected currently in my district, Bulambuli, is Elgon North constituency and Elgon constituency. The resettlement camp and where government is set to procure more land to resettle them is in Bulambuli constituency on the lower side. We are in the process of verifying these people before they can be resettled in another place. I would like to hear from the Minister what arrangements the Electoral Commission will have for our people who are currently in the verification exercise, and we don't know at what time they will be resettled in a new place. What arrangements are there for them? Because they will need to vote wherever they are.
Thank you. Honorable Karubanga.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And colleagues, I would like to remind us about a category of people who actually for them have never been on the voters' roll ever since. For example, a number of Bagabo, Bakingwe, Bennett, Maragoli, Sabot, Bahaya, Baziba. And I want to recall that this parliament, both the 11th and this current parliament, gave leave for constitutional amendment so that they can also access IDs and also be registered to vote. I would like to ask the minister, there is a report about that, Mr. Speaker. There is a report about that which can be adduced to this parliament to be considered and so that they can be included in the constitution to be able to actually exercise their rights to vote. Mr. Speaker, I would like to implore the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to update us on how far the minister has gone to ensure that this matter is put to rest. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Workers. Then Honorable Mpuga.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister of Justice and Constitution for the good report. However, Honorable Minister, the Constitution of Uganda recognizes different interest groups. One of the interest groups are workers. And these interest groups are represented at all levels. The workers are represented at national, in Parliament, and at the district. They are not represented in municipalities. They are not represented at division levels and sub-counties. What are you saying this time as we go for elections, whether these workers will be represented like other interest groups? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mpuga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm excited by the prospect of having the Honorable Norbert Mao having to answer to questions relating to transparency of elections at this moment in our constitutional history. Because for so long a time he's been a victim. And if the next election in any way becomes botched by virtue of a wrongly assembled register, he will be both a culprit and an abettor of that fraud. So I am happy he's here to answer to these questions in earnest. I have a few issues for him, Honorable Speaker. One, what kind of register will finally come out of this process? Will it be biometric or manual? Aware of the trouble that we had in the last series of elections, courtesy of bearing different types of registers used concurrently at polling stations, and what that eroded in terms of transparency, especially in trying to curtail multiple voting. Two, Right Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Nsereko made allusion to part of the duty that the Honourable Mao owes this nation, namely to offer leadership on key reform issues that have been a subject of court variously, the Supreme Court, including particular and peculiar orders to be followed, including the correction of the nature of register. I want to be specific. The Honourable Mao is alive to the ruling in the Karali Stephen University, the Attorney General, to which there was no appeal lodged by the Attorney General, that the continuation of disenfranchising Ugandans in the diaspora and prisoners is a serious violation of their right to exercise their civic rights. So are you going to abet this continuation of this violation? It was declared unconstitutional and a violation of their rights to vote. So as a Minister of Justice and as a former victim, if there is such a thing as a former victim of disenfranchisement, are you prepared to abet this illegality and violation of the Constitution? Lastly, second last, I am aware some months back, the Honourable Mao was very warm and enthusiastic about constitutional reforms and electoral reforms, and that with the Speaker will not extend my time. Kindly allow me to. He has indicated that propensity not to extend my time. That Honourable Speaker, I'm aware the Honourable Mao enthusiasm has since gone down because allegedly he had a very good document on reforms, electoral and constitutional, including the transition. And because of that last statement, some people broke into his office and saw everything, the document, the computers, and he has nothing now to work with. May we know whether he's working on something fresh or he needs help to go back to its text that offered this country some gleam of hope that would transition. Because the question I would have asked the Speaker, you're going to answer, and of course, I have a procedural matter I would reserve to the Right Honourable Speaker related to that matter. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister. Under what rule?
Honourable Speaker, we have been discussing and debating the report
Honourable Korik.
of
Honourable Korik,
yes,
sub-rule 478 says when you...
Rule 8.
Under Rule 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Honourable Speaker, we have been discussing the report of the Minister of Justice. A statement. You, in your response and guidance, and several members were responding as if the hand of this House is tied. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution creates different arms of government and creates institutions. One of them is the Electoral Commission. We give the Constitution gives independence of institutions. The independence is not to protect them from accountability. And that's why the Electoral Commission reports to this House, appears before this House. It is just proper, Right Honourable Speaker, that we exercise our power as provided for in the rules and the Constitution and direct Electoral Commission. If there is any omission that this House sees, and that omission will lead to violation of the Constitution. And the activity of registration and update is a very serious activity which determines the democracy of this country, peace and security. I therefore, Honourable Speaker, in the statement of Honourable Mao...
No, state your
yes,
point of
I'm
procedure.
stating the procedure. The Minister stated that he had conversation with the Electoral Commission. It is the aspect of conversation is not provided for within our rules. Right Honourable Speaker, the rule 8, and I want to read. Procedure in a case not provided for and precedent. In case of any doubt and on any question and of a procedure not provided in these rules, the Speaker shall decide, having regard to the practice of the House, the constitutional provision, and the practice of other Commonwealth Parliament, insofar as they may be applicable to the Parliament of Uganda. Right Honourable Speaker, the question of this House not having power to direct the Electoral Commission to comply with the Constitution is for us to say we do not have power, is for us to run away from our role and powers as provided for in the Constitution. This House has the power. We can direct the Electoral Commission to perform duties and to be accountable. And therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm seeking your guidance. That isn't it proper that this House moves a motion to direct the Electoral Commission to extend the days, to acquire the necessary equipment, to put the necessary document, to perform all the tasks that this House wants.
Thank you. Now, Honourable colleagues, just let me make it very easy for you that our rules of procedure cannot override the Constitution. Article 62 of the Constitution is very clear. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the Commission shall be independent and shall, in the performance of its functions, not be subject to the direction of or control of any person or authority. Now, how do you want us to go under rules to suppress the Constitution? So let's, Honourable, please, Honourable colleagues, we have moved very well with the Electoral Commission. The Minister is here. We have given him questions, so let him answer. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the members for raising very pertinent issues. In general terms, the Electoral Commission or anybody that is said to be independent cannot hide behind the phrase of independence in order to avoid being accountable. That's a general principle which we should all accept. Secondly, if you can persuade, why should you direct? It's important that we also do not underrate our power of persuasion. In any case, the people are busy persuading the Electoral Commission on your behalf. The very people you represent are speaking for themselves to the Electoral Commission now. I propose that we give the Electoral Commission time. I do believe that they will do the right thing because elections are about the people. Concerning the workers, I have consulted with the Minister of Local Government, and I wish to inform this House that under Section 131, there will be an amendment so that the workers don't get excluded. I hope that assures the Honorable Katambuka that the workers will be included. On the question raised by the Honorable Karubanga Jacob Atenyi, basically it is about those who are considered to be stateless. Let me state here that the fact that your tribe is not in the Constitution doesn't mean that you cannot vote. Everybody feels that everything should be included in the Constitution. The Constitution is a supreme document and doesn't need to have everything. The Ugandan Constitution is 10 times the size of the American Constitution. And I don't think the American Constitution has served the American people any worse than ours. Therefore, that conversation about everybody wanting to be in the schedule is another conversation. Let's separate it from the issue of voting. The right of the diaspora to vote is the policy of the government that the diaspora should vote. What we intend to do is now to translate that policy into law. But the policy is that our diaspora, who are daily being celebrated for their contribution to the government, should not be excluded. On the use of technology, I want to inform this House that I already took the bill to the cabinet. And the cabinet had some reservations and referred the bill to a committee which is chaired by the Honorable Chris Bariomunsi. So I hope on Monday he will report to cabinet. The use of technology is very important to deal with the question of ballot stuffing, where people who never showed up at a polling station vote. In this case, the record in the machine must tally with the ballot papers that are cast. We have even created an offense, a term of imprisonment for up to 5 years for any presiding officer under whose watch the votes cast don't tally with the votes that are recorded in the machine. We are even proposing, it is in the law, and in any case the law will come here after it has left cabinet, and you can improve it as you wish. We are even proposing body cameras so that whatever goes on at a polling station can be on record. Now, concerning the question of boundaries, this is under Section 120 onwards. These boundaries are the exclusive duty of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Speaker. On the question of whether the security officials are meddling, I think that's a matter that we can have to deal with, because for long we have insisted that the Electoral Commission must be in charge and must be seen to be in charge and not to be ousted by anybody or authority. Now, let me state the position of the law. A national ID is a prima facie evidence of citizenship. So no one can again start asking questions. If somebody is saying that the national ID was got fraudulently, that's another matter. But on account of disenfranchising somebody, you cannot start raising a lot of issues. The Honorable Ababiko talked about APA. I want to state here that this is a matter which remains contentious, but as far as I'm concerned, it is not a question of where APA is located. It is a matter of Ugandans having the right to vote. So we should not mix up the contentions of the people about where APA belongs, whose land it is, and so on, with the question of voting. I am not here to talk about the contentions about APA. I'm here to guarantee that anybody who feels like voting in APA can go and vote. In the same way that I can go and change my polling station to Kololo tomorrow. I can change my polling station to Masaka in the Honorable Matthias Mpuga's polling station. And there is, provided I can prove that I have a banana plantation there, that will allow me to vote. In one election, I was registered in Omoro County because I have a garden there. The grounds on which you can change your polling station are in the law. So the question of the APA is a subject of a commission of inquiry, and I believe they will deal with it. I want to assure members that the Electoral Commission will speak for itself. Now, there are ways in which we can influence the work of the Electoral Commission. We have got the National Consultative Forum of Political Parties, which is chaired by the NRM, and the deputy chair is from the National Unity Platform. I would request that that forum discusses some of these issues, because the players in this election are the political parties, and they don't really have to raise all the issues on the floor of Parliament. It is possible for them to sit and face the Electoral Commission, and if need be, they can even challenge any decision that would disenfranchise somebody in the court. I had to go to court in order to be put back on the voters' register. On the question of the census, I think it is not really about the census. It is about who is qualified to vote. I want to state here, Mr. Speaker, that I was not counted in the last census. But I'm on the voters' register and I'm going to vote. So we shouldn't really mix up the issue of the census, that somebody is using the census to raise issues. I don't think there is a census book where Ugandans who were 18 after the age of 20, after 2014, will be told that you will not be registered because you are not on the 2014 data. That is not the basis of registering voters. The basis of registering voters is the data captured by NIRA. And once NIRA has you on their database, then the Electoral Commission works with NIRA to put your name on the National Voters Register. And it really has nothing to do with whether you were counted or not. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Odu has misled all of us here that there is likely to be a council which has 5 members. Obviously, he was quoting the law, but I don't think he is very well acquainted with it, because under Section 124, the law says that no council shall have less than 10 members. So now where do you get this fiction apart from a novel? If you are reading the Local Government Act, and then you are quoting a novel.
Order.
Obviously, there will never be a council with 5 members because the law puts the minimum at 10.
Thank you. Honourable Minister will conclude.
The issues that have been raised by the Right Honourable Matthias Mpuga are very important. And since his arrival on the national stage, seeking to become a national leader, obviously it is important that that the government is seen to be taking him seriously. But let me say that the Right Honourable Mpuga has arrived, but these issues had arrived before him. These issues had already arrived, and we are definitely dealing with them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Procedure, Mr. Speaker. Procedure.
Honourable colleagues, please. Honourable colleagues, the Minister has informed us that, Honourable Minister, you've informed us that the Electoral Commission is going to update the country. Okay? I would implore you that after they've updated the country, it would be very important for you to come back, you update Parliament, so that we can add value in terms of the whole, how the whole of this process is concerned. So next week, I'll be in touch with you to give you space so that you can update the country. Next item.
Item 4 on the order. Laying of papers. 1. Extension of term of office of administrative unit councils. That is local council 1 and local council 2.
Procedure, Mr. Speaker.
Under Regulation 12D of the local government councils regulations.
Honourable Minister for Local Government.
Procedure, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable colleagues, this matter Tuesday next week, it will also be here, so we've not closed it. Let's get an update after Electoral Commission has finished.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable
Minister
Speaker.
for Local Government.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I beg to lay on table General Notice number 2827.
Not granted, Honourable. Minister, continue.
I beg to lay on table General Notice number 2827 of 2024 under the Local Governments Act Cap 128, extension of term of office of administrative unit councils, in bracket, Local Council 1 and Local Council 2, under Regulation 12 of the Local Government Councils Regulations. Notice is hereby given the general public pursuant to Regulation 12 of the Local Government Councils Regulations that the term of office of administrative unit councils expiring on 30th December 2024 is extended for a period not exceeding 180 days from 31st of December 2024. And together with this notice is the Uganda Gazette of 13th December 2024, under which
Honourable Minister, let me make it easy for members. On laying of papers, if he has made a mistake and we are firing to the committee will handle from there. This is laying of papers. Okay.
Together with this notice, I beg to lay on table the Uganda Gazette of 13th December 2024, gazetting this extension of the local councils 1 and 2. I beg to lay.
Thank you. The instrument is referred to the Committee on Local Government. Honourable colleagues, Section 194 of the Local Governments Act gives Parliament only 2 weeks. Gives Parliament only 2 weeks if it wants to revoke the instrument in its entirety or amend part of the instrument. So we have only 2 weeks. So this means that our rules of procedure, which give us 45 days of handling such issues, will not apply because the mother law is very, very clear. So I give the committee up to report here on the floor on 18th. Okay, the Committee on Local Government, 18th of February, you will report here on the floor so that we can do our job in line with the confines of the law. Next.
Item 4.2, the Tier 4 microfinance institutions and money lenders, in brackets, prescription of maximum interest rates, notice 2024.
Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay on table legal notice number 21 of 2024, the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act, Cap 61, the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Prescription of Maximum Interest Rates, Notice 2024, under Section 89(1) of the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and the Money Lenders Act, Cap 61. I beg to lay.
Thank you. This one is for noting and for members to read for your information. So I'll find to the library in case a member needs. So, neighbor colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of 25 district speakers and 25 district deputy speakers from Kakumiro District Local Government. They are represent and sub-county. They are sub-county speakers. Yes, 25 sub-county speakers and 25 sub-county deputy speakers. They are represented by a Right Honorable Nabanja Robina, our Prime Minister, the Honorable Byamkama Fred, the Honorable Tumwes Josephat, and Honorable Agaba Aisa. Please join me once again in welcoming them. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Thank you. In procedure?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Honorable Ekanya.
Under what rule, Honorable?
I will state it after the issue.
No, but Rule 78, Sub-Rule 4 says you state the rule first.
8. Mr. Speaker, yesterday,
you know, colleagues, I've been extremely generous until when, and even I was ready, by the way, to tolerate a little abuse of procedure. But then it has gone beyond. It has really gone beyond. We can handle anyone who wants to speak from any aspect procedure. And I want to inform you, colleagues, I have the power to grant procedure or not to grant it. It's not mandatory. So when I say no, please know I've said no. Okay? So let's proceed under Rule 8.
Mr.
On
Speaker,
procedure not provided for.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday when the chair of budget assigned another member to present a report, the Honorable Ekanya raised the issues of our record. That when you call the chair budget and someone else stands, at least the record must be corrected that the person standing is doing so on behalf of another person. You called the Minister for Finance. A junior minister stood up. He did not say that he has been assigned by the Minister of Finance to do the work. The record will have Minister of Finance, the Honorable Matia Kasaija, yet it is one of his juniors who has come to represent him. I am only concerned because they answered here, people do use it for many reasons, including academic. So I was, the reason I stated the Rule 8, it is not provided explicitly anywhere that people must introduce themselves properly when they are assigned by their superiors. That's what I was drawing to your attention, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, we received a rota from the government, from the Read of Government Business, which shows a day which minister should be here, representing a ministry. Okay? Not representing a senior minister, but representing a ministry. And we take record of that. I don't think it's problematic in any way in terms of us capturing the record. I will cross-check with the clerk. We see if we find it problematic, then we can always insist. But it's a ministry, okay? It's a ministry. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise to raise a procedural matter under Rule 72, Sub-Rule 2. And with your permission, let me read it verbatim. The conduct of the Speaker, members, the Chief Justice, and judges of the courts of judicature shall not be raised except upon a substantive motion and in any amendment, question to a member or remarks in a debate on a motion dealing with any other subject. Any reference to the conduct of persons mentioned is out of order. Right Honourable Speaker, I was in this house when my land brother, the Minister of Justice, was making presentations. And he made mention of your conduct in respect of the Honourable Semuju, that you are in some unknown corporation. He also made mention of the fact that the members of this house are engaged in drama. He accused us collectively of engaging in drama. He also accused us collectively of misinforming the country. Right Honourable Speaker, his last remarks were about the Right Honourable Impuga, and he made mention of the fact that he had arrived and was seeking perhaps recognition. All these issues, Right Honourable Speaker, offend our rules, and we should not leave them on record. This rule is otherwise known as the law against casting aspersion. Right Honourable Speaker, may I move that any reference or references made by the said minister that offend the rule be expunged from the record. I beg to move.
Now, honourable colleagues, you see, it's difficult for me when you stand up to know what you want to say. Okay? So, and Honourable Mao made a sign to me that he had indeed, should I say, apologized or what? But I think it needed to be on record because I was accused of colluding with offering aid, I think, yes, to Honourable Semuju to swallow him. Swallow him. No, Honourable colleagues, that's, I can never do that. I mentioned it clear that I can never do that. And the unfortunate bit is not here, he has moved. Usually, we want a colleague to come on the floor and maybe justify or withdraw, because that was a very, very serious statement. If I'm accused, now I give you space to speak, you go for each other, then I'm accused, I'm saying I'm aiding. But me, I'm supposed to speak members to speak. It's up to you to be cautious to ensure that what you say is within the confines of our rules of procedure. Now that he's not here, and those statements are disturbing, because you're questioning me as if I colluded with someone, finished someone here. It's very unfortunate. I think I will instruct the clerk under Rule 229 of our rules of procedure to review and look at only those aspects. Only those aspects. To expunge that aspect. But I mean, this is a straight matter where the Speaker, 229, where the Speaker is of the opinion that the words that have been used in debate are defamatory, indecent, unparliamentary, or undignified. The Speaker shall order that such words be expunged from the official record of Parliament. I therefore want to take this opportunity to exercise my power and order that that part is expunged. Thank you. The part, let me be specific. One, where the Speaker, the presiding officer, was accused of aiding. Number two, where the House was accused of being involved in a drama. No. Yeah, there is, and on both sides. If Honorable Semuju also put it on that side. Okay? Honorable Jonathan Oduro has reminded me that we've ever done a drama here on several occasions. Let me stick to that one over choosing the Speaker. Let me stick to that one over choosing the Speaker. Okay? The rest are debatable. We check our conduct. Okay? Point of privilege? Honorable.
Yes, sir. Let me be very clear. Thank you. That I don't mind the banter between myself and the Honorable Mao. We normally do that, and I cannot take that to be personal, because I normally do it to others, and I don't take offense when somebody does that. But then, the matter of privilege is that representation is a right and an obligation. For a minister to come here and does not answer directly the questions you have asked, and simply veers into banter, is a problem. And then it disappears. And when we rise on procedural matter to put him correctly to answer the questions, Mr. Speaker, undermines our role of representation. I want to be on record that Honorable Mao did not answer anything. He simply veered into banter and disappeared, Honorable Speaker. And I'm not sure those who read the question they raised and his answers, how they rate him, and how we shall go back to our people that one of these questions answered will judge the Honorable Mao. So other than speaking in colloquial English, he answered nothing. So I don't know how you guide Honorable Speaker when our role is undermined and the member simply veers, fails to answer, and then takes first leave.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Now, I think Honorable Mao answered, but not your satisfaction. I think that's what the record should capture. He answered, but not your satisfaction. Okay? Number two, honorable colleagues, it is difficult for me to say, no, Honorable Minister, the answer you've given is not satisfactory. So go and bring another good answer. But now, a minister, most of these issues, he's committing government. He needs to go back and consult. He might make commitments here which are not tenable. He reaches in the cabinet, they are not allowed. And then we hold him accountable here. Honorable Minister, you promised this. So like we said that he updates us next week. Let this continue. Let it be a continuous process. Honorable colleagues, next item, our time is gone. We are already 4 p.m. I'm going to, let us first do item 7, then we come back to item 6.
Item 7 on the order paper, statement by the Right Honorable Prime Minister on government business for the succeeding week, 11-13 February 2025, pursuant to Rule 28 of the Rules of Procedure.
Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank members for welcoming our speakers and deputy speakers from Kakumiro district. You are most welcome. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I move under Rule 28 of our Rules of Procedure that requires me as lead of government business to make a statement in the House regarding the government business of the succeeding week. I therefore submit the following businesses for the succeeding week from 11th to 13th February 2025. 1. The Uganda Railways Bill 2025. And 2. The Minister of Health will give a statement on the status of the monkeypox disease in the country, Ebola outbreak in the country, and the cholera outbreak in Lamu district local government. Number 3, a statement by the Minister for Presidency on the commemoration of Archbishop Janan Rumu's Memorial Day. That Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, number 4, a statement by the Minister for Kampala and the Metropolitan Area on the status of solid waste or garbage management in the Greater Kampala and Metropolitan areas. Number 5, the statement by the Minister of Water and Environment on the weather forecast in the country. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Next, Right Honourable Prime Minister, sorry. Next item.
Item 5 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of Parliament authorize government to allocate budgets for the financial year 2024/2025 and revise work plans for the second batch of institutions affected under the rationalization of government agencies and public expenditures in brackets RAPEX reform.
Honourable Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move a motion for the House to consider reallocation of budget estimates for financial year 2024-25 and revision of work plans for the institutions affected under rationalization of government agencies and public expenditures reform, commonly known as RAPEX. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Is the motion seconded? The Government Chief Whip, Honourable Pachito, Honourable Katumba, Right Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Moroni, Honourable Komake, Honourable Norman, and many members of the House. Honourable Minister, I want to speak to your motion. And Honourable Remricha was the first
Thank
to stand
you,
up.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, in accordance with Section 19 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 171, and Rule 56 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I have moved a motion to consider the work plans for the second batch of institutions affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure reform. Right Honourable Speaker, His Excellency the President assented to an additional 9 bills following parliamentary approval. To ensure uninterrupted service delivery as we implement the transition process, there is a need to transfer or reallocate the prospective budgets of the affected institutions to enable the receiving institutions take on the rationalized functions. Right Honourable Speaker, we are required to reallocate budgets and revised work plans for the following 13 institutions. 1. Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA. 2. Uganda Road Fund. 3. Ministry of Works and Transport. 4. Dairy Development Authority. 5. National Agricultural Divisory Services, NADS. 6. Cotton Development Organization. 7. Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA. 8. Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, Uganda Free Zone Authority, 10 Export Promotion Board, and Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority. And the second last, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, and 13, Higher Education Students Financing Board. Mr. Speaker, a total of 2.4 trillion is the approved budget for rationalized institutions. At the end of Q2, an amount of Uganda shillings 1.17 trillion had been released, leaving a balance of Uganda shillings 1.27 trillion, of which 33.39 billion is a projected saving as disaggregated in the annex which I will lay on table. The above savings are to be realized from board expenses, medical expenses, NSSF, contract gratuity, and rationalization of staff and their salaries. Therefore, the funds available for transfer amounts to Uganda shillings 1.241 trillion. Right Honorable Speaker, the above savings will be deducted from the affected votes in the MTF for financial year 2025-2026. However, in the current financial year, the releases, the affected votes, will be reduced by the computed savings and repurposed to finance some of the emerging funding needs during the year and will be presented to this House for approval. Mr. Speaker, you may wish to note that the funds for retrenchment costs for the affected staff under the above institutions will be provided this financial year 2024-25 in line with the recommendations of the Ministry of Public Service. The retrenchment costs were not included in the approved budget for financial year 24-25 since the bills had not yet been assented to by His Excellency the President at the time of finalization of the budget. Mr. Speaker, with this justification, I beg to submit.
Thank you. Committee Chair.
Mr. Speaker and colleagues, aware that the Minister has already put up a motion and aware that yesterday we handled batch 1 and under the same process batch 2 was handled. Would therefore like to lay on table the report of the committee together with the minutes of the meetings and the work plans of the entities. I beg to lay. Mr. Speaker, this House should take note that out of all those rationalized entities, most of them are going to have adjustments within the same votes. So the money will stay in the votes. It's only the affected votes are going to be National Identification, Registration Authority, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Agriculture, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotions Authority, National Planning Authority, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotions. So those are the only ones going to be affected that will require transferring money. Mr. Speaker, I therefore, having had enough of the discussions, pray that we adopt the report and go straight to have the money supplied to those few votes. I beg to move.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, this is in line with yesterday's principle. which we agreed upon, okay? And we said we receive this because the issues of yesterday are the issues of today in the same report. Honourable Minister, what I remember, one of the issues which I want to confirm is that the new vote which you had created, you have an accounting officer for it. We want it on record to know the name of the accounting officer, to be sure. So I request you, Tle, if you have it ready.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the document under my hand has a heading that reads as follows. Mr. Masagazi Deogracious, Under Secretary, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Appointment of Accounting Officer for financial year 2024-2025. And this letter is dated 6th February 2025. It is signed by Ramadan Gobi, Permanent Secretary / Secretary to the Treasury. I therefore wish to confirm with this supporting document that vote 168, free zones and export promotion, has an accounting officer duly appointed. I beg to lay.
Thank you. No, Honourable Guzuri stood up first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad the Minister is attempting to act in accordance to with his commitments yesterday. We are getting into, according to the chair, we are getting into supplies, but to the best of my knowledge, the report he has presented here has not been looked into by the various sectoral committees to acquaint themselves thoroughly and justify what they want to do. And as a process provided in the law, if we move as they are trying to do, Mr. Speaker, you should be sure you will be presiding over an illegal exercise, because whatever they are bringing here must have been looked into by the sectoral committees first. So you will have to decide whether you want to join in that illegality or you want this house to move as provided in the law. I just thought this should be on record so that we choose as a country how the public out there should look at us. Whether we want to jump steps.
Thank you. Colleagues, this is a matter which was settled yesterday. Okay? This is not in the law, but part of our procedure. And we discussed the same report of today, the same report of yesterday. And no, Vasarura, you were not here. Please allow us to finish our work. We were here. We concluded on this. Honorable colleagues, I put the question that the motion for a resolution of Parliament authorize government to reallocate budgets for the financial 2024-2025 and revise work plans for the second batch of institutions affected under the rationalization of government agencies and public expenditures RAPEX reform be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and the content nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 6 on the order paper. Motion for the House to resolve itself into a committee of supply to consider supplementary schedule number 2 for financial year 2024-2025.
Honourable Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to move a motion for the House to resolve itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary schedule number 2 for financial year 2024-2025. I beg to move.
The motion seconded. Government Chief Whip Chairman Isiagi, Honorable Shatsi, Honorable Milton, Honorable Margaret, Honorable Komakesi, Dr. Pio, Honorable Kabe, Norman, Nyakato, Kajreje, Rionga, many members. Bigger Rose, Aber, Katumba Wamara. Honorable Minister, would you love to speak to your motion?
Mr. Speaker and colleagues, Parliament approved the total budget of Uganda shillings 72.137 trillion for financial year 2024-25, disaggregated as follows. Uganda shillings 34.318 trillion appropriated budget by Parliament, and Uganda shillings 37.819 trillion as statutory expenditure. Right Honorable Speaker, Section 24 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 171, states that the total supplementary expenditure that requires additional resources over and above what is approved by Parliament shall not exceed 3% of the total approved budget for that financial year without approval of Parliament. And 2, where the funds are expended under subsection 1, supplementary estimates showing the sums spent shall be laid before Parliament within 4 months after the money is spent. Right Honorable Speaker and members, His Excellency the President assented the first and second batch of the RAPEX bills in July and December 2024 respectively. Consequently, I tabled motions for resolution of Parliament to authorize the reallocation of budgets and revision of work plans for the RAPEX affected votes. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, out of the 11 votes receiving the rationalized functions, only 6 require transfer of funds from the rationalized entities, while 5 votes require reallocations within the same vote to mainstream the rationalized functions and all subventions under the newly created departments. 5 votes include Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. This is vote 1018. Vote 015, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Vote 022, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. Vote 009, Ministry of Internal Affairs. And vote 013, Ministry of Education and Sports. Right Honorable Speaker and members, following Parliament's approval of budgetary allocation for institutions affected by RAPEX, I have accordingly prepared supplementary schedule number 2, totaling to Uganda shillings 1.243 trillion for the 6 votes. This supplementary expenditure is to facilitate the transfer of funds from the rationalized votes to the receiving institutions to implement the mandate and functions of the rationalized institutions. This is disaggregated as follows. 1, recurrent Uganda shillings 296.027 billion. 2, development Uganda shillings 940.097 billion. 3, statutory Uganda shillings 7.066 billion. Mr. Speaker, I provide details of this supplementary as follows. Recurrent expenditure. Vote 137, National Identification Registration Authority, NIRA, Uganda shillings 1.036 billion. This is required to implement the revised structure and operationalize the civil registration functions transferred from Uganda Registration Services Bureau, URSB. Vote 019, Ministry of Water and Environment, Uganda shillings 7.178 billion. This is required to implement the revised structure and operationalize the functions received from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport, Uganda shillings 246.155 billion. This is required to implement the revised structure and operationalize the functions received from National Roads Authority and Uganda Road Fund. Vote 010, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda shillings 32.781 billion. This is required to implement the revised structure and operationalize the functions received from the following rationalized votes. 1. Daily Development Authority, DDA. 2. National Agricultural Advisory Services, NADS. 3. Cotton Development Authority, Cotton Development Organization. 4. Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA. Vote.
Honourable Minister, let me cross-check. Do we have this uploaded, clerk? Because members need to look at these figures. It's very critical. Yeah. Clerk, can I have a copy uploaded so that members go? Because these figures, we can't leave members to just read, take on face value. Colleagues, let's stand on this for 10 minutes, okay? And we have the item uploaded, and we return here. House suspended for 10 minutes. Thank you. So, order, honorable colleagues. Order. Yeah, so now the document is uploaded and let it be displayed on the screen. And honorable colleagues, ensure you get the figures very well. Honorable Minister, let's resume from where you had stopped.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I was on page 4, vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority. Uganda shillings 2.369 billion. This is required to facilitate the completion of the Free Zones Center in Entebbe that was approved in the financial year 2024-2025 budget and retool the Department of Export Promotion under the functions for Uganda Export Promotion Board that were transferred. Vote 108, National Planning Authority. Uganda shillings 6.207 billion. This is required to implement the revised structure and implement the mandate and functions of the rationalized National Population Council and the National Physical Planning Board. Vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority. Uganda shillings 0.859 billion. This is required to cater for contract gratuity and NSSF for staff of the new vote. Mr. Speaker, I now present the funding for the Supplementary Expenditure Schedule 2. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this Supplementary Schedule 2 will be funded using the unreleased resources that had been appropriated to the rationalized votes. Mr. Speaker, my prayers are the following. I request this August House to consider and approve the supplementary request for recurrent and development budget totaling to Uganda shillings 1.236 trillion and approve statutory budget of 7.066 billion Uganda shillings. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of members from She Leads Uganda who appeared before the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs from Bukoori County, North Buji District. The delegation is led by Ms. Kagoya Areste Rachel. They are represented by Honourable Baka Stephen Mugabi and Honourable Vasari Rasman. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Yes, Government Chief Whip motion.
Right Honourable Speaker, I rise under Rule 16 on suspension of rules to move a motion pursuant to item number 6 on the order paper for today that has just been dealt with by the Honourable Minister, that Rule 153, Sub-Rule 3 on referral, Sub-Rule 4 on consideration of the supplementary estimates, and Sub-Rule 5 on reporting back be suspended such that we can proceed with item number 6 until we finalize. The justification for this motion...
Is the motion seconded? Chair Budget, Honourable Remricha, Honourable Mouma, Dubai. Thank you. Just a few are enough. Maybe Honourable Wadiomo to represent. Honourable Chief Whip, do you want to justify your motion?
Right Honourable Speaker, I have moved this motion in very, very good faith. One, from yesterday up to today, we are all preoccupied, and we agreed yesterday that today we shall give effect as a House in terms of approving this request from the Ministry of Finance and Government arising from the decision that we took as a House on RAPEX, where we transferred functions of certain agencies of government, and this will also facilitate the agencies whose resources and functions were transferred, such that under RAPEX they can be in a position to facilitate the budget process through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee of this House has equally considered the motion on reallocation. So in my humble opinion, there would be no need going through the due processes under Rule 153. The reason why I have moved under Rule 16, that 153, 3, 4, and 5 be suspended in order for us to proceed with this item right now. I beg to move.
Thank you. Yes, Lop.
Honourable Speaker, firstly I want to oppose the motion, but additionally I would like to draw your attention to whether or not we have quorum, because we are going to discuss a very critical issue that has huge implications. I do not know that we have quorum, right, Honourable Speaker. So I draw your attention to ascertain that.
Just let me urge the members who are outside or enter, okay? As yes, I saw very many members in the corridors. Then clerk helps me. Whips, please do your work, and then I'm able to. Then clerk, you help me to establish. Honourable Jonathan Odu.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I also rise to oppose this motion based on the following reasons. Rule 153 operationalizes Article 156 of the Constitution to that extent that it actually reproduces the provision of Article 156. By the move to suspend this rule, the mover also purports to suspend the provision of the Constitution. In that case, it would be unconstitutional. But I would also like to draw your attention, Mr. Speaker, that the motion that has been moved does not only deal with the reallocation, it also deals with other aspects of supplementary budget or supplementary expenditure. For example, we approved the transfer and reallocation of the civil registration function from Uganda Registration Services Bureau to the National Identification Registration Authority. The amount available that we approved in the reallocation is about 360 billion. But what we are required here is to approve a supplementary expenditure now amounting to over 1-point-something billion shillings. That means the minister should actually help this House and separate the reallocation budget, which we already approved with the amounts, and then deal with the issue of the need by government to spend more money separately. And the procedure should be followed for that process. But what he has done is to bring it here omnibus. And by bringing this motion omnibus, Mr. Speaker, it will deny the sectoral committees the opportunity to interrogate the work plans that was presented, how far such work plans had been implemented, and what remains. And to even further confirm that the consensus we had yesterday was that the approval for the reallocation is an authorization given to the minister to go and initiate this process, and he would come back here and comply with the processes that we have. So I beg to oppose this motion and say you cannot suspend the provision of the Constitution in as far as the rules operationalizes it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Now, I just want first clarify that the rules which the House felt can be suspended were clearly stated under Rule 16. In making those rules, Rule 153 is not among the rules you considered. This is, I'm just looking at Rule 16 where you clearly stated as a House the rules you can suspend. The rest will be for us to give our submissions, whether we agree that this can be, but me, as long as it does not offend Rule 16, any rule not provided for under Rule 16, the members will decide on whether it can be suspended or not. Number two, honorable colleagues, I want us to have a spirit. And we moved very well yesterday and even today. You are the same colleagues who have been putting us on pressure about emergencies in your constituencies, your roads, your what, and we are not having money is available, but it cannot be released until the process is completed. Okay? And the process is lagging on for long. So it will be you to decide, but Chairman Budget. Chairman Budget wanted
Mr. Speaker,
Chairman Budget wants to clarify on the issue
I would
raised
like
by
to clarify one thing and
by Honorable
confirm. I would like to confirm to the colleagues the figures Honorable Dur is talking about. There is no figure which is above the earlier approved budget. What we are talking about, 1 billion and 36 million. It's a wage which was 323, and the non-wage is 713. So I would like to remind the colleagues, Registrations Bureau transferring to NERA, according to them that they are moving from a lower salary scale area to a higher scale salary scale. So their request was to have an additional 713 million for wage. The committee said no, at this stage, we are not addressing that. We are addressing the reallocation of already voted monies. So it is only accepted to the extent of what was available. So the fears of Honorable Dur have been taken care of here. So we are only transferring the available monies. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, for the record, the people of Bukori are also represented by Honorable Agnes Taka, as woman member of Parliament, and she's in the House. So I want our voters to take note of that for the record. Yes, Honorable Ori.
Mr. Speaker, I'm also rising to oppose the motion. But first, let me build on what Honorable Dur submitted. And I would like to draw the attention of members to a report which was presented here by Honorable Abu Katuntu. In that report, he cited the case of Zake, where some rules were suspended the way we want to do now, and the suspension violated articles of the Constitution. We all know the Constitution is a supreme law that cannot be defeated by these other statutory instruments or acts. As far as the Constitution dictates that there is a process through which we process budget and supplementary expenditures or budget, it is important that this Parliament complies with that requirement. We cannot rise above what the Constitution has dictated. The Chair has just submitted now that Odur should not get scared. Mr. Chair, I want to draw your attention to a requirement of the Public Finance Management Act, which dictates that after every 3 months there should be expenditure report. If we were able to see expenditure report, then we would know out of the money we appropriated. So far this has been spent, and the balance is this, and it can move. You are trying to hide something very, very important. An example I gave yesterday is, if a procurement officer in UNRWA, for example, was being paid 10 million, and now your agenda for rationalization was to cut expenditure, and yet we know the procurement officer of Ministry of Works is paid 5 million. What is going to happen to the balance of 5 million which you...
Thank you. Honorable Bigaros.
Yeah, thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we will not be scared to do the right thing. One, I know my brother is aware that Pakwachi is moving in. And this money we are appropriating is going to help us cross to West Nile. If we do not, of course, he who mourns should understand why the bereaved is mourning more than the bereaved. We have a challenge in West Nile. We can no longer cross. Very soon, Pakwachi will move in. We are getting accidents from Karuma to Pakwachi. You can imagine, you want to hold us here in Kampala. This is a serious area. This is so critical. Protection.
Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, a member has moved that we suspend the rules. The decision is yours. I put the question that the motion for suspension of Rule 153, 3, 4, and 5 of our rules of procedure be adopted. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, I have been informed by the clerk that the quorum here and online we have 179 members, so I want it to be on record. Honorable colleagues, I put the question that the motion for the House to resolve itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary schedule number 2 for financial 2024-2025 be adopted. Those in favor sign, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Committee of Supply.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Rope, I haven't allowed you. Please.
Could you kindly allow me?
Let's move.
Right Honourable Speaker, I have a procedural issue. Right Honourable Speaker.
Vote 137, National Identification Regulatory Authority.
Honorable colleagues, I now propose the question that a total sum of 1,036,858,995 shillings be provided to Vote 137, National Identification Regulatory Authority, as a supplementary current expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of 1,036,858,995 shillings be provided to Vote 137, National Identification Regulatory Authority, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, I request you take your seats. Honorable colleagues, I request you take your seats. I request you take your seats. I request you take your seats. Okay? I request you take your seats. But when a speaker is speaking, he speaks to you when you are seated. Okay? Now, honorable colleagues, listen. Honorable colleagues. Next.
Vote 019, Minister of Water and Environment.
I now propose the question that a total sum of 7,178,181,120 shillings be provided to Vote 019, Minister of Water and Environment, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of shillings
7,178,181,120 shillings be provided to vote 019, Ministry of Water and Environment, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport.
I now propose a question that a total sum of 246,155,118,160 shillings
a question of law has been raised.
Be provided to vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. I now put the question that the total sum of Uganda shillings 246,155,118,160 shillings be provided to vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
I now propose the question that a total sum of
Chair, there's
32 billion,
which we are raising
32
to you
billion, that a total sum of 32 billion 781,117,491 shillings be provided to vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of shillings 32 billion 781,117,491 shillings be provided to vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority.
Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of 8,875,535,879 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that the total sum of shillings, Uganda shillings, 8,875,535,879 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority, as supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 108, National Planning Authority.
I now propose a question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 104,150,160 shillings be provided to vote 108, National Planning Authority, as supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that the total sum of Uganda shillings 104,150,000.
Mr. Speaker, we are supposed to debate
be provided to vote 108, National Planning Authority.
You have a right to comment on those figures.
For financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. I now propose the question that the total sum of Uganda shillings 934 billion 997 million 100. Honorable colleagues, anyone who has something, they can to recommit. They can move to recommit. 934 billion 997 million 150,126 shillings be provided to vote 016, Ministry of Works and Transport, as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. I now put the question that the total sum of Uganda shillings 934 billion 997 million 150,126 shillings be provided to vote 016 Minister of Works and Transport as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 101, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
No.
Vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
Honorable colleagues, I propose the question that Uganda shillings 2,626,505,892 shillings be provided to vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries as supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 2,626,505,892 shillings be provided to vote 010, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority.
I now propose the question that a total sum of 2,368,906,200 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of 2,368,906,200 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority as supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 108, National Planning Authority. Yeah, we don't appropriate, but we supply, but we don't appropriate. Yeah, we just supply, we don't appropriate. Yeah.
We shall also be allowed.
Yeah.
Honorable colleagues, I propose a question at a total sum of 6 billion. Honorable colleagues, I propose the question that a total sum of 6,207,895,598 shillings be provided to vote 108, National Planning Authority as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 6,207,895,598 shillings be provided to vote 108, National Planning Authority as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority.
Colleagues, I propose the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 858,557,500 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Colleagues, I put the question that a total sum of 858,557,500 shillings be provided to vote 168, Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotion Authority as supplementary statutory recurrent expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Total recurrent expenditure including statutory.
Honorable colleagues, I now propose a question that a total sum of 303,264,743 shillings be provided as total supplementary recurrent expenditure for financial 2024-2025. I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 303,093,2 264,743 shillings be provided as total supplementary current expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Total development expenditure.
I now propose a question that a total sum of 904 billion 96 million 721,378 shillings be provided as total supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 904 billion 96 million 721,378 shillings. Honorable colleagues, I now propose the question that a total sum of 940 billion 996 million 721,378 shillings be provided as total supplementary development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of 940 billion 96 million 721,378 shillings be provided as total supplementary development expenditure for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Grand total.
Honorable colleagues, I propose the question that a grand total sum of Uganda shillings 1,243 billion 189 million 986,121 shillings be provided to the various votes as supplementary current and development expenditure for financial 2024-2025. Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that a total sum of Uganda shillings 1,243 billion 189 million 986,000 be provided for as the total supplementary current and development for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor say aye and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Honorable Minister for Finance.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move a motion that the House do resume and the Committee of Supply reports thereto.
Honorable members, I put the question that the House does resume and the Committee of Supply reports thereto. Those in favor say aye and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Minister.
Report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to report that the Committee of Supply has considered the motion for supplementary schedule number 2 totaling to 1,243 billion 189 million 986,120 shillings and passed it with no amendments.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Supply.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report from the Committee of Supply be adopted.
Honourable colleagues, I put the question that the report of the Committee of Supply be adopted by this House. Those in favour say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honourable colleagues, this is money we had already appropriated. The source is available. We are only now completing the cycle of RAPEX. People outside are crying they are not being paid. Our roads are stuck. I think indecision on the part of the House and delay does not help, especially in as far as running this is concerned. House adjourned to Tuesday at 2 p.m.